Welcome to the Igniting Hope podcast, where you will experience catalytic encouragement and practical tools to renew your mind with truth instead of lies, so you can experience transformation in your emotions, circumstances, and influence. Let's break off self-limiting beliefs together like never before.
The title of today's podcast and message is Taking the High Road. Taking the High Road. Listen to this verse. By the way, this is an excerpt out of my book, Victorious Mindsets. It's got 50 victorious mindsets in it. It's a devotional. It's great for husbands and wives or for personal devotions, group studies. It's one of my best books. And this is one of them, a victorious mindset. I'm a person who takes the high road in situations. Listen to this verse, Romans 12:8. If it is possible, as much as depends on you, live peaceably with all men. Listen to that again. If it is possible, as much as depends on you, live peaceably with all men. Now, let me just say what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that taking the high road means we're going to keep ourselves in abusive situations, or taking the high road is that we're just going to let ourselves be cheated and swindled in financial situations. But what I am saying is that when we do take the high road, that there is going to be short-term pain, discomfort, to say the least, but there's going to be long-lasting blessing. It comes out of our core values. It comes out of integrity. It comes out of honor. And I'm not saying we're not going to have boundaries in relationships. And I'm not saying we don't protect our families and other people around us from abusers and cheaters and liars and that. But I think once you get through this podcast, you'll understand the importance of taking the high road. Now, taking the high road means maintaining integrity and honor even when others don't. Taking the high road means maintaining integrity and honor even when others don't. David did this when King Saul was trying to kill him in 1 Samuel 24 and 26. Jesus did so when he spoke with Caiaphas in Matthew 26. Jonathan in the Old Testament took the high road when David was chosen instead of him for the throne to be the next king. Paul did so with the high priest in Acts 23. The Bible is full of people who took the high road and full of scripture that has with truths and commands that show us how to do the same, especially this Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 5 through 7. It's a high road dissertation that Jesus gave. Now, when we take the low road, we're usually responding out of hurt, anger, or fear. Our emotions lead us to do things and say things we often regret. We will defend ourselves by tearing others down. We will spread the, quote, truth, unquote, about those we believe have wounded us. And when we finally call it quits in an environment, taking the low road means that we will take parting shots, blast people on social media, and just leave a broken bridge behind us in the relationships in that organization. Now, one of the areas where we take the high road is in finances. And many times through the years, I have made decisions in financial situations that have brought short-term pain to me, but I've believed it's the right thing to do. I believed it's the right thing to do. And it's created a long-lasting financial blessing in my life. I've just had some recently. Yep. Okay, I'm going to take a short-term loss. It's painful, but it's the high road. So finances is a is a important area when we discuss this. The others is this relational situations when we find ourselves embroiled in disagreements. It could be a church dispute, a fight, church, disagreement, people leaving a church. It could be in a business situation. It could be family disunity. And we again look at the scriptures. Much as depends on us, live peaceably with all men. I don't want to take sides, and certainly there's going to be times where we may need to do that, but my focus is not to take sides. My focus is to take sides with the truth and take sides of bringing healing in relationships. How we respond to leadership over us that we believe is doing the wrong thing is one of the main indicators of how ready we are to lead ourselves. And again, there needs to be things exposed and that, but I'm giving a general principle here. A general principle that we come into situations purposing to be a healer, purposing to seek first to understand before we seek to be understood, purposing to live peaceably with all people involved as much as we can. Now, in my book, Victorious Mindset, the way it's set up in this one, Taking the High Road, I have lies to overcome in possessing this mindset. And I like to laugh at lies. I'll give a little chuckle after each one, and you can too. God, number one, God is surprised and completely hindered by what the people in my life are doing. Anyone who disagrees with me is evil and my enemy. That's a good one. That's a needed one in this hour. If I don't speak everything I feel, I am inauthentic and weak. That's a funny one. Number 4, taking the high road means I will never confront injustice. That's a lie. And number 5, honesty and integrity make me an ineffectual doormat. Now, here's some great declarations from that devotional. Number 1, I respond to others' bad decisions with peace and integrity. Number 2, I am known as a person of honor and respect. Number 3, the Holy Spirit is empowering me to turn my areas of past compromise into purity and excellence. Number 4, I build, not burn, relational bridges. And number 5, even if taking the high road seems to have negative consequences, I will not compromise my principles. Man, David had a prophetic word that he was going to be king, and King Saul was trying to kill him, and David had opportunities to kill Saul, but he took the high road. And it seemed to have negative consequences for him, but eventually he got there. Those are powerful declarations. Let me read them again, because I believe that these are going to get into your spirit even more. I respond to others' bad decision with peace and integrity. I am known as a person of honor and respect. The Holy Spirit is empowering me to turn my areas of past compromise into purity and excellence. I build, not burn, relational bridges. Even if taking the high road seems to have negative consequences, I will not compromise my principles. All right, and here's some practical wisdom on this. And again, these are all in the devotional book. First, determine your core values in responding to relational conflict. Determine your core values My book, Help 'Em a Pastor, has got 80 core values in the beginning of it. And because I want to be proactive by understanding my core values, so I'm not reactive just by my emotions, but I got principles. These core values could include not talking about the problem to people who are not part of the solution. Secondly, seeking to understand before seeking to be understood. Thirdly, refusing to be a dumping ground for people's bitterness and negativity. And 4, valuing prayer as a major weapon in hearing from the Lord and bringing about change. A second practical wisdom is read the book of Proverbs regularly. There are 31 chapters in this wonderful book, one for every day of the month. It is a gold mine for those learning to take the high road, offering wisdom about our words, choices, and attitudes. And then thirdly, take the steps necessary to build and maintain trust. Low road, people who take the low road treat people poorly in high-pressure situations and compromise their integrity through dishonesty and commitment breaking. And then it causes a loss of trust. And because trust is the currency of influence, our influence will decrease. Our influence, however, will grow as people determine we are safe, when we are reliable, when we treat people with respect and admit to and correct our mistakes. Now, I'm going to say again, note this. I'm not saying that high road takers should allow people to continually walk all over them or to allow their family or themselves to be abused. I'm not saying that we should never confront people or stand against injustice. This is an important message. Taking the high road. It's a message that will bring a long-lasting blessing. And I just sense that that the timing of this message is important for many of my Igniting Hope podcast listeners. That there's situations where you're tempted to take a low road perspective. Maybe you already have. I know I have in my life, and I've needed to apologize. I've needed to make course corrections. And in finances, in relationships, taking the high road is going to lead to long-lasting blessing. And I speak wisdom over you in complicated situations where it just seems like there is no good choice to take. James 1:5 says, if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives generously without finding fault, and it will be given to him. Wow, thanks so much for listening to this podcast from Igniting Hope Ministries. We're just so excited about what God is doing in our lives, and as we travel. I'm taking a lot of time off here in July, and that from travel, and that's refreshing, doing family things. But I am going to be in Council Bluffs, Iowa at the end of July. Then in the first weekend of August, I'll be at Bethel, New York, and some other churches surrounding that. We'll get that on our itinerary. Should be on right now by the time you've heard this. The locations there in New York City, and going to be in Fortuna, California, Lewiston, Idaho in August as well, and going to be in Brisbane, Australia, and some other Australia locations at the end of August, beginning of September. Then I will be in Richland, Washington, Mexico City, and Richland, Washington in September. And then in Germany, and I'll be in October doing a leadership gathering in Portugal in October as well. Excited about all these opportunities. And I also want to just keep reminding you of the Backlund Leadership Academy that's starting in September. I've been mentioning this on the podcast. It's the biggest thing we've ever done. Right now, we're looking about 48, 50 people who want to be mentored by me in a strong online format. And you can find out about that at ignitinghopeacademy.com. And it's going to be powerful. I'm taking the 8 pillars of leadership that I teach on, the pillars of inspiring and leading yourself, transformational beliefs, intentionality, healthy relationships, speaking life, faith-filled decision-making, the culture of gladness, and empowerment, building big people. Taking those 8 pillars, plus the structure that we've created for years here in Redding, California at Bethel Church. And I've had over 160 third-year students from the Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry go through my program here. And so many of them have become great leaders at Bethel and around the world. And we're taking those concepts and and put them in an online format. We're excited about that. Now, it's not for everybody, because we're having a select number of people to being a part. But I believe for some of you, it's for you. And go to ignitinghopeacademy.com to find out information. We have limited enrollment, so if you're feeling a spark, I wouldn't wait too long to inquire or to apply. Hey, just before we wrap this up, I want to let you know a few prophetic words that I'm getting for you. And I'm hearing this, even as I talk about integrity and finances, and I'm hearing that there's somebody within the sound of my voice where that really creates a fear because of what it might cost. And I'm hearing that the Lord is going to make a way where there seems to be no way in that situation. I know of a person who was $1 million in debt, and he took the high road, and God supernaturally provided for that to get out of that debt. And I'm hearing this, that even going broader in my word right now, that there is supernatural debt cancellation, and there's a grace on people right now to get out of debt. Now, some people who are listening is that it's impossible. No, that's a mindset to believe it's impossible. That mindset is working against you. And there's a new mindset that the Lord is giving you. And as you start taking steps, your forward movement will cause Red Seas to part. Do what you can. Start whittling away at it. And there's powerful grace. I'm hearing that for parents, that some parents are really dealing with some uncertainty, even physical challenges with their children. And I'm hearing that God's hand is on your child, and that God's going to see you through, and He's bringing breakthrough. There's healing. I speak healing over that. There's going to be a reversal of what you're experiencing. I'm also hearing that the Lord is releasing a grace for you to choose, those of you who are married, to choose your spouse again. Again, I choose you again. I've done a podcast on that maybe a year ago or so. And it's powerful, because that's what the marriage vows are. I basically saying, I'll choose you again and again and again, no matter what happens. And I see that there's a new spark in your marriage, and that the Lord is breaking off passivity. He's breaking off going through the motions. He's breaking off disappointment about things that aren't changing in your spouse, and really giving you the spirit of encouragement and to see them. And there's a new heart you're getting for your spouse, a new heart, a higher heart. Some of you already have it's already manifesting itself, but it's going to another level. Provision is coming to you from a source you do not expect. One idea for you is going to change everything. And I hear the Lord just saying, give me something to work with. There's grace on you to give Him something to work with. Despise not the day of small beginnings. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this podcast. You can go to ignitinghope.com, sign up for our newsletter if you want to know about our events and online courses, where I'm going to be traveling. Get the blog that goes along with this podcast. Go to ignitinghope.com and you can find out. We have many declarations, free resources on there. And you can also, if you want to become a vision partner or give one-time donation. You can find that at our website, ignitinghope.com. We appreciate so much those who sow into this ministry through prayer, encouragement, and finances. And if you can't do finances right now, no worries. We bless you. We just are love for you to be a part of our family. But we do believe we're good soil for those who want to invest. Yes. All right. Closing comments. Here we go. Igniting Hope Ministries, we are here to ignite your hope. There's no hopeless circumstances. There's only people who do not have hope. And once people get true hope, circumstances cannot stay the same. Increasing hope is the evidence that we're renewing our mind with truth instead of lies. Decreasing hope in our lives and how we see our family, how we see our nation, is the evidence we're renewing our mind with lies instead of truth. Somebody just got revelation on that. Our hope level determines our influence level, and he who has the most hope has the most influence. Romans 12:2 says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Transformation doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from believing higher. It comes from believing truths higher than what we're feeling and experiencing. I used to only renew my mind with my feelings and my past. And the Lord said, bummer for you. You're just going to repeat the same feelings and same past for the rest of your life. And it's never convenient to renew our mind, just as like it's never convenient to be radically joyful. The joy of the Lord is our strength. I've never found a convenient season to be radically joyful. There's always a reason why. And for pretty much everybody listening, today is just not a good day to be radically joyful. No, it's a choice. And we know we mourn, there's weeping, we weep with those who weep. But if it's a lifestyle, and I just see God releasing grace on you to enter into joy. Now, 3 things we can do. Number 1 is, and they're all tied together, but we focus more on how far we've come than how far we need to go. So many doers and people who are making a difference in life and business are still unhappy because they focus more on how far they need to go. The ideal of what they think it should be, the ideal of what they think their family should be, the ideal of how far they think they should be right now, instead of focusing on how far we've come and the blessings. And the second thing is being thankful, which it really links into that. I'm thankful. We enter his gates with thanksgiving, Psalm 100 says. The more we focus on what we have rather than what we don't have, the more we're going to be joyful. And then lastly, we delight in the Lord, Psalm 37, verse 4. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. The delighters delighting with unfulfilled desires. But they're still delighting. They're delighting in the Lord. The delighter is delighting with things that he or she wants to see happen that haven't happened yet. They're called desires. Hope people live while they're waiting. They're delighting while they're waiting. Faith people who don't value hope are waiting to live. They're believing for things, but they're not living while they're waiting because they unconsciously believe they can't fully live until something happens, until something changes. When that thing changes, then, yep, I can live. Now, that thing's getting broken off on this podcast. The delighter says, woohoo, Lord, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what you're going to do in this situation. I don't know how you're going to do it, but you're going to do it. The joy of the Lord is our strength. Thanks so much for listening to this podcast. We're praying for you, the Igniting Hope family. If you're new to Igniting Hope and this is your first podcast you've ever listened, welcome. We love to encourage. We love to give hope. And my favorite definition of hope is the belief that the future will be better than the present. And we have the power to help make it so. Bless you much. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for listening. You can be a part of our live stream of this Igniting Hope podcast by joining our social media channels on YouTube and Facebook and hitting notifications. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing and leaving a review. Help us get the message of hope out to more people by liking and sharing this podcast. Also, we have so many more incredible resources for you, including books, events, and courses on our website, ignitinghope.com. And why don't you say this concerning the message in today's podcast? I receive it, and I'll never be the same again.